Good morning, Jeanette. How are you?
Good morning, Adam. I'm really well, super excited for today, wherever our conversation takes us. So I wore some sparkly stuff, and you're looking like Christmas itself.
I tried. For anybody joining us right now, welcome to What's the Title, where our conversations are so much fun, they name themselves. We ask a lot of questions, we answer none of them, but we have fun while we're getting there. And I just wanted to let everybody know that I am a life coach when I'm not making podcasts, as is Jeanette, right?
Absolutely. I have a small life coaching practice here on the Sunshine Coast.
And so what we do is have lovely conversations, both with each other and with our clients. There's a lot of sitting, introspection,
hmm hmm
maybe less big ideas, but a lot of growth that goes into it. And normally I have a big book full of ideas for things for us to talk about. And it happens very quickly. I choose on the spot and we talk about it for about 45 minutes. But last week we decided that this week we were going to talk about Christmas because it's coming, it's here. December has started. I've got my sweater on, I've got my stocking up. And so today I was hoping that we could dive into the spirit of Christmas and why December itself as a month feels different than the rest of the year. And do you notice a difference?
Oh, absolutely. You said we weren't going to go too deep today, but Christmas over time for me has actually deepened in its meaning. At some other points in my life, I kind of eschewed the Judeo-Christian model of what Christmas was, and of course, the rampant materialism and commercialism just really turned me off. But then I started just exploring it for myself,
Hmm.
and it is a beautiful month, full of lots of meaning for me, for personal meaning. And so I'm happy to say that, yeah, I don't see it changing much as I go forward in life. I think it'll continue to deepen for me.
When you say Christmas it changed, I'm curious on what timeline? Like when did it start to shift for you into something different?
What a, well, thanks for that question. Well, I have you heard of this thing? You probably have in psychology. It's called cognitive dissonance.
Hmm.
It's when you're saying something and you believe something, but the evidence points otherwise. So I was raised in a secular household, and I'll keep this very short, but here's kind of the trajectory of it. So grew up with Christmas and Santa and the tree and the presents, and like every child, I couldn't wait to open my stocking. Then I became a mother, and I did that with and for my own children. I couldn't imagine their childhoods without it. Plus, as everyone, I'm nested in a family doing Christmas. So I would say for quite a while it was kind of rote. This is what
Mm.
you do. So that's what I did. And then I would say as my children grew older, so now we're out of the total wonder of it, they're young adults, maybe late teens, I started to really look at it and shift into my own values around it. So I would say that, like maybe closer to 40, late 30s.
Okay.
And I realized for me, it's very organic. I'm into kind of the Celtic end of it, the Druidic traditions. I'll be doing the solstice on the 21st. It's very steeped in deep history.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say about midlife, that's when it started to shift for me, and I'm still doing that. I'm still shifting it.
I love that. I kind of figured that it would be around the time where kids grow up. They start to
Yeah.
almost they find their own Christmas traditions, or they
Mm.
stay in university one year for Christmas, or
Yeah.
um they have their own kids, and all of a sudden, well, then you're a grandparent who has to jump back into Christmas. But uh as a parent going through all of those years and dealing with all of that stress and all of that, I've got to make
Yeah.
Christmas for my kids. I've got to make it magical. I've got to that after that step to be able to take a step back and be like, no, what does this holiday mean to me? Like right now.
Right.
And I am in my belief system or non-belief system.
Right.
Uh, I I am under the same influence where the winter solstice and the summer solstice, these are real. These things have been around forever for a
Completely.
way for human beings to recognize the changes that are coming. It's been a communal thing
Hmm. Hmm.
forever. So that's generally where a lot of my celebration comes in. But I'm a giant child and I'm never going to put down all of the aesthetics for me that come with Christmas. I'm never going to stop wearing my ugly Christmas sweaters. I'm never going to stop putting up my Christmas tree or putting in fake presents or and for anybody listening, the only reason I put in fake presents is because my wife and I, every year, we decide that we're not going to do presents this year. And then one of us will go, okay,
Mm,
well, I did get you
can't do it.
something. And then that something usually happens before Black Friday. And then Amazon starts to show up. And my my wife enjoys the sales a little bit more than I do. So I have a lot of uh, homemade, like crafted kind of presents. However, I am a thorough believer that she should have as many boxes to open as I do. So as Amazon rolls through, I'm counting and being like, okay, so that's four, and that's okay. So that's I need two more things. Now I gotta go find myself a mug. For me, a big part of Christmas, as you said, like capitalism is a very capitalist driven thing.
Yeah.
And at some point, I hope that most people grow out of the concept that Christmas is about presents. As a kid, absolutely. The joy of tearing into boxes and getting stuff after stuff after stuff, and each one is new and exciting. It's like a dopamine drug day. You just
That's what I was just
everything
thinking. Yes, you're right.
all morning you just get to enjoy all of these things. And my mom was crazy and would buy everything. Every year there would be like 80 presents under the tree. And at some point in my teenage years i got I swung the other way, like very heavily, where I would prefer one well thought out gift than 30
Right.
knickknacks, things that
Yeah.
are neat, as it were,
Oh, yeah.
that are only fun in the moment that you open them, and then you forget about them, as opposed to the things that you will keep forever because they sit somewhere deep. This for me is where Christmas lives. It all settles somewhere in my heart. I like to think that I don't need to take a lot of photos in order to remember the vast majority of Christmases. I don't remember linear time frames. I don't know if I was 13 or 10 or 16 when these things happened, but I remember Christmases. And then at some point, yeah, I don't think my aesthetic is ever going to change. I'm always going to keep Christmas, but I am going to one of my friends' houses for uh, pagan Eustace, Yule,
You'll,
one of the with the winter solstice, basically.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
he's a he is a practicing witch, which I always think wizard. If he's a witch and he's a guy, is he a wizard? But no, he's an ordained
No,
witch
a witch.
priest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's we go over there and we do that, and his house is decorated completely different than my house, but I love it. I absolutely love. I love having somebody else who celebrates in a completely different way, but he still celebrates, and
Absolutely.
that's what I love about Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what we're touching on here is at some point, we all take a step back and go, right? What is it I appreciate about it? And one of the things where my cognitive dissonance came along was the gifting, because you're right, it kind of opens up that greed and dopamine. And it's like we're manipulating little children to be good, even. And I realized as I started to look into it, I thought, but I like giving the gifts. And I'll be honest, I like receiving them. And as I looked into it one day, giving and receiving gifts is highly traditional. It is a human, back in the day, it was a way of creating peace between villages. We would meet, gift with, an oxen, or I don't know what they did back then, but you know what I mean, right? You would
Yeah,
give something and receive something to show goodwill. So it is deeply, mate, I'm going to tell you about one of the best gifts I ever got.
please
I,
do.
I hope I'll try and make it quick. So I'm in a dollar store, and I can see that the people in the lineup, that's where they are, where they need to shop, the prices and what they can get and whatnot. And behind me was a little girl in her buggy, and she's sitting up. She's about three, and you can see child of one, not a lot. She's pretty, didn't look like she'd had a bath in a while. Very cute. So I looked down and just smiled at her and said hello. And she reached onto the piece in front of her buggy, and she gave me this teeny tiny little pine cone that she must have found, like exquisitely perfect. And that touched my heart in that moment. She wanted me to have it, something connected between the two of us. And she gave me such a gift that day. And she didn't realize that, oh, I'm going to get a little emotional here, but she's a gift, right? Giving
Mm.
heart. What about you? What gift do you remember? Like you said, some of them just really touch you.
Um, okay, so I have one that's very sweet, and I have one that's less sweet. Uh, when I was a kid, I wanted Teddy Ruxpin more than anything.
Mm,
Uh,
mm.
that's that's what I wanted. Uh, I would yell out in Toys R Us. Uh, he was the old cassette. For anybody watching, a cassette is a tape, which is like an MP4. It's like an audio file but physical. And you could put that in the back of him, and then he would talk. He would slowly talk. And mom told me several years later that she and my dad spent 2 hours, 3 hours plugging in different batteries, and Teddy Ruxpin would not speak. He did not work. And they knew that they were going to have to return him, but they also knew when I opened it and turned him on and nothing happened, that I was going to be upset that my friend Teddy Ruxpin was not going to talk to me.
Yeah, I
And
remember Teddy Ruxpin.
they went to bed just like trying to prep, trying to gather their spoons for Adam being disappointed. And we woke up the next morning, and I opened him up, and I put the cassette in his back. No, I didn't. They already had the cassette in his back. And I turned him on, and he opened his eyes, and he talked to me. And he talked to me for 3.5 hours.
Wow.
So mom tells the story like he didn't belong to us. He was yours right from the beginning, and he refused to speak to us. He wouldn't say hi until you touched him. And then she's got pictures of me sitting down with that bear for hours and hours. I loved that bear more than anything. I carried him around forever. And that was my sweet story. I also get every year. Uh, I remember every Christmas, but I have something tangible that brings it up. I get a Christmas ornament every year
Nice.
without fail. So my tree gets more exciting, and every time I pull out an ornament, my brain is like, "Oh, I remember that year." And so my tree, I love my tree and I love my Christmas ornaments. So every single one of those means something. And then the last one is stupid. I used to be able to unwrap and wrap presents like a Christmas elf, but I didn't tell my mom that for 3 or 4 years. So I was able to unwrap and see what I was getting for Christmas every year for from the time that I was 7 or 8 until probably the time that I was 11 or 12. And I would get my sister to wrap my presents for me because I'm a rascal. And and she figured the year that she figured it out, she told me that I was getting bricks. There was a box and it was big and I couldn't lift it. I could not lift it without tearing the paper. And so I kept asking her, like, Mom, what's in the box? And she would say,
Yeah, yeah.
bricks. You got bricks. You know, you open your presents every year. Instead of coal, this year you got bricks. And I opened it on Christmas morning, and there's Sega Genesis, which for anybody younger watching is a video game console, much like PlayStation or your computer, with two bricks sitting beside it. So she took the box, she put it in a box, and she put two bricks on either side. And she thought she was so funny. Uh, and that one, I'll remember that one forever. And I realized after that that the jig was up, that I had to wrap my own presents, and that I couldn't open presents anymore. And so that was my that was my not so sentimental story, but that for
Like the
me,
coal, yeah, the coal in the stocking, right? Like
yeah,
we always worried we'd get coal, and with you know, I every year I thought for sure there's going to be coal in that stocking, and that's the guilt thing that you know that was another thing I had to re-examine with Christmas. Like I wasn't real fond of all the guilt. Like to give a gift is just simply to give it, and never mind
mm,
who's whatever terrorizing the children with those kind of things. But you know, another thing, like you asked the question about why this, because it's the deepest, darkest month, right? It really is for people with seasonal affective disorder. It's not a great month. But oh, aren't we lucky that our forebears lit candles? Like that's part of it. Lots of beautiful candles lit, the light. So now we have electronic lights and whatnot. And the other thing is the sense of altruism. I mean, even if you only pop a loonie in the Salvation Army thing, or you know, throw some money to a busker or donate somewhere, we all, I think, level up even a little if we're not, you know, big givers. Like, don't you feel guilty when you go and say Walmart and they'll say, "Do you want to give $1 to children's sports today or something?" And I'm like, no.
yes, I
You know,
do.
a little piece of me goes, Jeanette, you could
Uh,
spend an extra dollar or two, but I get kind of tired of the constant, you know, in the grocery store and Walmart. But around Christmas, you do, or you smile
yep.
at that person that you think might need it a little more intentionally. So altruism, I think, always lifts ourselves up when you've been a little kinder than you need be.
Which to me is that is the core part
Ah,
of what makes the month of December, Christmas, whatever holiday that you are, and this is what gets me, is it doesn't matter what you call it. The month of December is a month where everybody is nicer.
yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
you it is the month of giving. It is the season of giving and not necessarily it's not for guilt, it's not for it's just an inherently human thing that we all have where for 1 month out of the year we're kinder, we're more patient,
yes,
we we give we give not just things but we give more of ourselves, and in doing so we feel better about ourselves. And the magic of seeing, you know, those moments of humanity that are punctuated, of lovely
right,
humanity
right,
that are punctuated between a lot of the news stories of everything being horrible all the time. In
right.
December, like you said, you have moments where you turn around and smile and a little girl will give you something that you will remember forever. Would she do that in March? I don't know.
I don't
It
know.
doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
just see there's more of it in December. People are
Yes.
like, it's like the best part of us really comes out in the month of December. And for me, that's the magic. That's the magic of Christmas. And I wish that there was a way for us to hold on to that through January, through the rest of the year, to be able to keep that mentality, that feeling. And for the record, the lights are a huge part of it. I live on one of those streets where people will go for a drive to drive down and see the just like theme park of Christmas lights, and I love it. It's just
Beautiful.
wonderful that somebody would spend that much time and effort. They do the same thing for Halloween, but that somebody would spend that much time and effort is absolutely wonderful. To see a whole cul-de-sac, 30 houses, as if they've all gotten together, congregated, and been like, okay, so this year I'm doing blue. Mike, you got green. All right. Sarah, you got candy canes. You're going to do candy canes this year. And so every house is different. They all have a different theme. And the drive down there, my street is wonderful. And then there's another one that's a 15-minute walk from here. And Ainsley and I go down and just, it's like a microcosm of the community that we want to live in, where everybody gets along and organizes and makes the world a little bit nicer for a period of time.
Yes. Be lights in the dark. I love that. Yeah, I love that what you said, be the community that we want to be. Yeah. And I think getting back to the question that you just asked about can we uh roll it throughout the year. I think that that's one of those yes and no answers, which I don't have an answer to it. I just have thoughts about it. And for me, again, finding my personal belief system around Christmas, like I say, I kind of embed mine in the natural world. And lately, there's that beautiful, I love Christmas carols
Mm-hmm.
and that one silent night, Holy Night.
Yeah.
Well, when I get up at night and the moon will actually shine through my bedroom curtains and wake me up, and I get up and I look and I just stand there and bask. And that song makes sense to me on that level. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. And that's how it is out there. So I feel that hallowed feeling actually long before Christmas ever appears. And I'm anticipating January is when we'll typically get more cold here actually than in
Mm-hmm.
December. So there'll be lots full moon, excuse me, full moons, maybe some snow, and I'll feel that holiness, if you will, of life itself, of the planet within me. And then I'll still get cranky in Walmart and not give $1 to children's sports. See, I didn't have an answer to that one. I was leading us all there. But yeah, I try and cultivate within me so that it becomes more and more my operating system than say
Mm.
oh, well, it's just all about me kind of thing. Does that make sense?
I like that actually, and there was something that you said in there in that um, it's something that you try and draw and make it a part of you. And throughout the year, most of us, I hope, the vast majority of us, will have moments where we know that we did the right thing for the
Right,
right reasons, and we'll feel good as a human being.
right,
And I feel like in December, it's one of the moments, it's one of the opportunities where you get to do that enough that you can actually make it a habit as opposed to just having moments. You do it for a
right,
couple of weeks and
right.
maybe build that into the way that you see things in the new year. And for anybody paying attention here, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, because anything that you promised yourself that you're going to do on January 1st, come February 1st, you are going to be mad at yourself that you didn't hold on to these New Year's resolutions. And so unless your resolution is to just be kind to yourself and to
Mhm.
others,
Yes.
I think that it's an unhealthy thing for us to do.
Unless
But
you own a gym, because people come flooding in the doors.
yes, for three, they will pay for that 2 year membership and then never show up again.
A coaching tip, I read recently that research shows that if you make a goal,
Hmm?
you're more likely to keep it if you begin on a Wednesday.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's
Interesting.
because honestly, I kind of passed it by in my doom scrolling there. Um, anyways, yeah, New Year's resolutions are for naught.
I have a theory.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I think Wednesday is a good day to try a new goal because come Friday, it's the weekend. You don't want to do anything that kicks out of your habit of enjoying your time off.
Hmm.
Monday is a drag. Tuesday, you're recovering from the drag. But if you do it on Wednesday, and then you can do it on Friday or Saturday afternoon instead of Saturday night, but then you've done it twice in a week. And let's say it's going to the gym. So you go to the gym on Wednesday
Yep.
and you're sore on Thursday and you hurt more on Friday. And then you push past that and you go to the gym on Saturday. By the time you go back to the gym the next Wednesday, it feels good. Yes, you get sore, but at some point going to the gym, you recognize that sore as a good feeling because it means that your body is growing, your muscles are growing, and it becomes a really nice, positive thing that happens. So I can totally see why doing it on a Wednesday works. If you do it on a Sunday, you're not going to do it again till the next Sunday. But on the
Yeah.
Wednesday, you have another chance. That's my theory. It's based on absolutely nothing. That's just what I thought when you brought it up. And I really do wish we'll go back to if you're going to wish for anything, if you're going to want to change anything for you for a year,
Hmm.
being kinder to yourself and being kinder to other
Yes.
people, that's going to bring you a lot of the other stuff that you would hope for along the way, especially being nicer to yourself. And it's a lot nicer to be, or it's a lot easier to be nicer to everybody else if you're kind to yourself first. So,
100%. Yeah, I think as life coaches, if we could wish our clients, but people in general, that, right, just some self-kindness. Because I find it really interesting that we've built this the culture of Christmas, if you will, or the tradition, it's all about excess in a way, right? Eat the turkey and the mashed potatoes, and we all know we push from the table, we've got to wear our fat pants, and the jokes are there. And then all of a sudden, 6 days later, we're supposed to hit the gym and
mm,
starve ourselves and make ourselves smaller. And there's something very unhealthy about that. And we've
yeah,
created that within our culture.
the swing is too far.
Yeah, yeah.
You go from one end of the spectrum all the way to the other end of the spectrum.
Seems bizarre.
And
And now I've just thought of that just now for myself. I say, why on earth did we create this? But would you not say that's more the systems around us? Like little children don't do that. They show up for Christmas dinner, yum yum yum, leftovers the next day, and if you gave it to them again in January, they'd eat the same way. They'd
oh
enjoy
yeah,
it. But as adults, somehow that the commercial part of our life has taught us that somehow we need to swing from one to the other. And say, how healthy is that in and of itself?
and looking at it, any goal that you make out of guilt or
True.
of a dislike for the way that you, well, if you don't feel good and you decide that you want to change it, that's good. But if you feel fat because Christmas happened and you decide that you're going to go to the gym, that's not going to settle. If you decide you're going to start going to the gym to get healthier, that carries a little bit more weight. But anything that you decide to do who's where the core reason for doing it is guilt, not going to stick. That will not become a core habit, because anything that's born out of guilt, you do not inherently want deep down to do. You're doing it because of an external source, something that you felt. It's not
Absolutely.
something that you want to do. So, yeah, I would agree with that. The
Okay.
spectrum, it flies the other way, and I do believe that we need. I do believe that we need. We were talking about this a little bit before we started. Is how do we keep the spirit of Christmas? How do we keep this feeling of community, of being close, of being kind, of being patient through the rest of the year, even into January? Like Valentine's Day, you celebrate the one that you love. And I wholeheartedly believe that you should celebrate the one that you love every day. But it's cool that we have a day in February. We need a day in January, and we need a day in March. We need a day. We need as human beings, we need to have some sort of structure moving forward in order to remember, to remind us that it's not about you. Uh,
Your
we
picture.
don't exist on this planet for you.
Well, to me, Adam, what you're talking about now, and just my mind went to it, is yeah, you're right. Like, let's talk about health and say you go to the gym, or like yourself, you paint, you're an artist. So you practice those things almost daily, right? Like, you're not going to get better and you're not going to proceed unless you do them daily or almost. So now we're talking about the practice of gratitude, forgiveness, kindness, of feeling that life is uh, full and golden all on its own. And where my mind went to was people used to go to church once a week. You saw your community. You would break bread. You would gratitude. You would dispel the dark. So, and I'm just loath to say that only because for people who like myself that may not subscribe to any particular doctrine, whether it's Hinduism or Christianity or um, all the rest, is finding it for ourselves is that we've got a little harder task.
Yeah, I
That's
would
what I
agree.
think. It takes a little longer. When you go to a beautiful church, that's what they're going to provide it for you. And Christmas, we do that. We provide it for ourselves. We get our families together. We eat this wonderful meal. We give love and we put aside our petty differences and all those things just to at least share some laughs.
Mm.
So, to do that for yourselves, if you're secular, I think we just have a little harder task, but I think it's doable. We just need to, you're right, in January, can you pull your friends and family together?
Yeah,
Some yes, no in this busy world.
yeah. Actually, there's something that you said that has some weight to it. You put away your petty differences. The
Right.
fact that you could recognize that they're petty differences is in and of itself something that would
Ah,
be beautiful to carry throughout
yeah.
the rest of the year. You and I have talked about all different kinds of love, and
Yes.
um, one of the one of the hardest but greatest tears is radical love, where you love somebody not in spite of their faults, but because of their
Yeah.
faults. You love them because of who they are. And yes, we all have an uncle or an aunt at the table where you're like, they
Oy,
steal
oy, oy.
spoons. They just
Oy vey.
they
Yeah.
steal energy. But if you can get past that and find a way to just be like, you know what? You say what you say, you believe what you believe. I still love you because you're family. I'm not going to not invite you to places. And if we could find a way to
Oh,
recognize that they are petty differences and
yeah.
not core value differences,
Yeah.
then we would have a lot more family dinners. I would say we would have a lot more friendly dinners, but in all fairness, if somebody has a completely different core value system than you do, you're probably not friends.
It's true. It's true. But I love what right away my mind went to old Uncle Ernie, and we all got one. Do you bring him into the fold anyways? Because I'll bet you Uncle Ernie is lonely.
Yeah,
Angry people are quite often lonely because they've alienated everybody.
yeah, that's how they got to be lonely to begin with. And
Mhm.
and then there's this underscoring, well, I've alienated people because nobody believes or sees the world the way that I see it, and they should. People should
Right.
see the
Right.
way that I see the world. And like,
Right.
no, actually, you'd be surprised how different your life could be if you could move past that and just accept that people don't see your life, see life the way that you do, because we can't. None of us has lived in anybody else's shoes. None of us have experienced anybody else's trauma. None of us have gone
Exactly.
through what anybody else has gone through. I have severe ADHD and epilepsy. Nobody lives in my head. Nobody should live in my head. You won't have the same experience. We could sit and have a conversation and have two completely different experiences. Both of them are true, and both of them are fine. It's just recognizing and remembering that that's kind of the point, is that it's not about you, it's about us, and trying to keep a hold of that. That's what I call Santa Claus, is the just the month of December. And it starts, for me, it starts the day after Remembrance Day. I know a
Oh
bunch of
yeah.
stuff comes out before that, and every year I'm like, there's really something we should remember before we move on to this. But come November 11th, you start to prep. You start to think immediately. You start to think about, what am I going to get? What would they really love? One year for Christmas, I wrote a dozen letters. That's it. Uh, it was the year that I was going to travel and I had no money to spare. So I wrote letters about how I truly felt about what they meant to me. And I think of the 12, there was four that didn't cry.
Bittersweet. So that's the gift of words. That's another thing. If anyone wants a little tip on gift giving, is figuring out what their love language is. And for some people, myself, gift of words, I would have been crying if you give me that letter. And for some people, like I have someone in the family, it's gift of service, right? So if you go do something for them,
Mm-hmm.
that, and then we all kind of bounce around, sometimes this, sometimes that. So that's helpful. But Adam, I'm just looking like it's almost time for us to wrap up this beautiful Christmas conversation. And here we are, friends over Zoom. And so I brought you some evergreen. Oh, can you see it?
Oh, that's love. That's
Yeah.
real, isn't it? That's
And
that's
this
like an
is,
actual.
yeah, it's a little bit of little snippet off my Christmas tree, and it signifies health and life. So I wish you bountiful life and good health. And then I brought you a piece of cinnamon stick, which is for protection and
Classic.
yeah, so I'm going to wave the cinnamon stick over you for protection and prosperity. And I
But
brought this little pink goblet so that your cup is always full. And that's what
Jeanette,
I wish you throughout the year to come. And I look forward to our wonderful conversations. You've been a gift to my life. So I wanted to thank you.
so when we're done here, I'm going to do the thing that I enjoy doing most. I'm going to tell you how I feel, or I'm going to write to you how I feel.
Okay.
And for those that have gotten this far, writing it allows you to use language that you couldn't use face to
Yes,
face. There,
absolutely.
there is a magic in that, and that is very sweet. And I'm very touched. And you fill my cup every week.
There
For
we
me,
go.
you are my Christmas every week, and you have been this entire year. And so with that, for anybody that's still here, thank you for being here. Hit like, hit subscribe. It helps us. Write in the comments if there's anything you'd like to hear
Please.
us talk about. We are going to take a 3 week break to enjoy the rest of our Christmas and get through New Year's. So we won't have any new posts for. Well, I might post on Tuesday, but we won't have anything new for a couple of weeks.
Right.
And if you're feeling lonely during the holidays, or you feel like you want to talk to somebody, you want to reach out, um, I have free 45-minute sessions. My price over the holidays is $65 for the hour. You can find me at adamharlowcoaching.com or email me at adamharlowcoaching@gmail. And I would love to be there and to see you and to share my joy and hopefully help you find yours. Jeanette, where do we find you?
You best to email me, I think, at JJ Zungatree lifecoachingservices.ca. And but as Adam said, I'm really going to stick to my 3 weeks off so I can recharge and come back into the fray that we call life in early January. So yeah.
And as we do, as this rolls into the end, would you like to ask or do you want me to ask?
I think I have one. Why don't we both come up with the title? I have one,
Uh,
I think.
okay, so if this conversation was a book, what would the title of the book be called?
For me, it hinges back to the question you asked me when I shifted and I realized what I did was deconstruct Christmas. So
Hmm,
deconstructing Christmas, making sense and meaning of it for yourself.
I like that.
Yeah.
Individually, we all have our own
Mhm.
thing. Yeah.
What about you? What's the title?
The title for me would be Christmas in March.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Because I wholeheartedly believe that if we could keep this and save it, even if it was every 6 months, it might be enough for us to remember the magic of being together, of family, friends, of enjoying each other, and of
Yes.
altruism, of
Yeah.
giving. Giving is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And with that, everybody, lovely to see you. I hope you have a wonderful holiday and we will see you in the new year. Jeanette, I adore you more than anything. You are the highlight of my week every week. And I hope and I'm excited to hear how your New Year's and how your Christmas went when we come back in January.
Aw, thank you, Adam, and thank you everybody for listening. And we'll see you in the new year.